Did not go out there against today.
Beauty is not who you are on the outside, it is the wisdom and time you gave away to save another struggling soul like you. Shannon L. Alder. Welcome to our celebration of life this morning. I'm Cindy Luhu. I'll be your facilitator this morning. Our pianist is Alan Brown, and our opening song is on page 67 in the pink book, What Wondrous Love, and Alan is going to play it all the way through, and then we will start singing. So please stand as you're willing and able.
67.
True community requires commitment and openness. It is a willingness to extend yourself, to encounter and know the other. David Spangler.
Yeah.
We are a spiritual community, philosophically based on existentialist and feminist principles, dedicated to human liberation and the protection of the natural world. We make our spiritual home in the Old Stone Church, which was hand-built by the African American Antioch East Baptist Church more than 100 years ago. We acknowledge that racial hostility drove these African Americans from the area, and we honor them and the powerful history of this place. We also acknowledge that in the 1800s, the Muscogee Creek people were driven from this land, and we support justice for all Indigenous people. If anyone has community announcements, please write them down and bring them forward. There's paper and pencils on the back table. Are there any newcomers here today that would like to stand and be recognized? Stand and tell us your name and how you came to be here this morning.
My name's Tiffany, and I've passed the church several times and always just been curious about what goes on behind the doors and celebrate and enjoy a spiritual experience with everyone. So.
Welcome, Tiffany.
Again, together, I'm a neighbor. I'm here to support Franklin.
Welcome, Dan.
My name is Karen. I've lived in the neighborhood for about 9 months. I came last week. I know Sarah, and I'm a chaplain in the healthcare as well.
Welcome. Well, did you want to stand?
Sure. I'm Brad Dorsey. I've been here before a few times, and I'm here to support them.
For any of you who'd like to get to know us better, we have a connection card connected to our program here. And we don't proselytize, we don't come knocking on your door, but if you'd like to get a weekly email to just know what's going on, or a monthly newsletter, you can stay a little connected with us. Also, I encourage, if you are interested, come at least 3 times. Every time is different. We have different facilitators, we have different speakers, we have different musicians every week. And 3 times is enough. I don't know, so 3 times. Just know that every time you come, it will be different. Are there any birthdays or anniversaries that anyone would like to celebrate this morning? We're in June, the heat of summer. Susan, come on down. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I almost forgot, but not for long.
Well, let's sing happy birthday to Susan, which is today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. Herman Melville. All right, it's time for another congregational song. We'll be singing page 36 in the pink book, Once to Everyone. And again, Alan's going to play it all the way through, and then we will start singing. Please stand as you're willing and able. Page 36. community announcement is from her. As Steinbeck says, the best laid plans oft go astray. Well, that's what has happened with me as I sat today as the first of our monthly discussion groups, but Chauncey and I will be out of town. I asked Dr. Jean to facilitate for me, and she has agreed to come to my rescue. Thank you, Dr. Jean. Everyone, please join the discussion after the service to share, learn, and support each other. The Southern Poverty Law Center is expanding into Georgia. The Avondale Alliance for Racial Justice and the Avondale Action Group invite you to a meeting with the SPLC this Thursday at 6 in Avondale. Go to aa-rj.org for more info. There are flyers for the book and bake sale in the back, which will be on July 13th. Please take some flyers to post in coffee shops and other places. And start collecting your books for the annual book sale.
Do you know yet when we're going to bring our books?
It's in the e-blast.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
You can bring them on the 11th and 12th. That's Friday or Thursday and Friday before the sale.
What time?
From 1 to 6.
Okay.
Thursday and Friday from 1 to 6, the week before the sale. The Candler Park Pool is open daily from 12 to 6:45. No what? I can't read what that word is.
No charge.
No charge, thank you. I'm like, no charge except Wednesday and Thursday it's closed. Okay, thank you. Next Sunday, June 16th, which is the third Sunday of the month, is Eat and Greet, celebrating June birthdays with pride. Bring a dish, snack, and drink to share, and that will be following the celebration of life. The Eat Chorus will be sitting in with the Antioch East Baptist Choir on our historical landmark ceremony, June 22nd. If you want to join us and join in, please connect with Jean. I think there's another one saying that we'll be singing accompanying the choir. Or that's,
We will be sitting in.
we'll be sitting in.
Wait, what?
We'll be trying to keep up.
Don't hear that. That's pride.
And in connection with that, please join us on Saturday, June 22nd from 2 to 4 at the Old Stone Church right here to recognize the Candler Park Old Stone Church as an Atlanta landmark building site. Woohoo! Help us celebrate the sanctuary's new protected status with the Antioch East Baptist Church, First Existentialist Congregation, the Biracial History Project, and the City of Atlanta's Historic Preservation Studio. The city will sponsor the afternoon's program, including the presentation of a plaque commemorating the landmark status and providing refreshments. We anticipate musical offerings from Antioch East and First Aid. This is truly a landmark event for the future protection of our beloved sanctuary. The UU, Unitarian Universalist Affiliated First E members. Marty Keller is your delegate to the UU General Assembly at the end of the month. If you have questions or concerns about Article 2, she's not around today, but you can contact her. All right.
Congratulations, Cindy, you have broken the record for number of
Thank you. It is our attitude toward events, not events themselves, which we can control. Nothing is by its own nature calamitous. Even death is terrible only if we fear it. I can't say it. Epictetus. Sorry, Greek name. I was practicing and I failed it miserably. It's still a good quote.
That's right.
And now we will have 5 minutes of silence where you can breathe, pray, enjoy the sounds of each other breathing and nature. There are candles and matches on each side of the sanctuary. Many of us have come here today specifically just to hear him speak his words of wisdom. But for any who don't know, Franklin Abbott is a local poet who lives in Decatur with his cats, and he'll be speaking with us today about resilience and community, and his title, We're Still Here. Welcome, Franklin.
As I arrange myself here, let me tell you a little story. The song that Alan played, the Tchaikovsky piece, I heard him play 40 years ago. Alan and I met through a mutual friend. He was attending the conservatory in Cincinnati, and so a friend of ours who lived in Cincinnati was here, and they introduced us. And a little while later, Alan called me up and said, I want to take you on a date. And, which was very sweet, but there's an age difference, not so obvious now, but back then the age difference was quite obvious, and I thought, oh no, I can't do that. He said, I'm going to come by on Saturday afternoon and pick you up. And I said, okay. So Alan drove up in his mother's station wagon, which was about as long as the sanctuary. It was one of those old station wagons. My goodness, there could have been 14 people. And he took me to Westminster High School, which is where he had gone to high school. He broke in and played this Tchaikovsky piece on the piano. It was very effective. So 40 years has passed and we're still here.
Yeah.
The people in my generation, I'm in my 70s now, we have lived through many things. One of the things that we lived through, some of us served and some of us did not, was Vietnam. Vietnam took a lot of lives and took a lot of souls.
Yeah.
Another thing that we lived through was the AIDS epidemic. Not that AIDS has gone away, but for about 16 years there was no cure for it, no treatment for it, and millions died. The COVID epidemic is something we have also lived through. And I heard you mention that you lost a brother. There were many losses. I lost both of my parents during that time, not to COVID, but to challenges with getting medical care, and there was no way of celebrating their lives after they died. So it was a tough time. The other thing that we all live with is having a body in gravity. This is going to get us sooner or later. But it hasn't gotten us yet. We're still here. We're still here. We're all here today. And good. I was talking with Carol Harder before the service, and I learned that Martha Scott, who had been a member at First Tee, had died in February. Martha was a larger-than-life, literally and figuratively, character who was an opera singer. And I remember her doing an opera, what was it called? The Medium?
Yes.
Right. And she did that here. And it was very scary. Very scary. But she was my first voice teacher, and she made it delightful. So, just to remember Martha for a moment, who in some ways is still here, and in some ways is not. So if you take an inventory and you think about the things that I mentioned, which apply to most of us historically, because most of us are a little bit older, there are also personal things, that you've been through. All of us have had stuff difficult things, illnesses, divorces, loss of job. And someone mentioned again earlier that we've been through some real significant political stress as well that is ongoing and at times really scary. But we're still here. We're still here. And my theory about why we're still here is that we must be doing something right. Now, I know you've heard your whole life long about what you were doing wrong. That seemed to be in my mother's job description. Let me know what I was doing wrong, and no news was good news, that sort of thing. And so I really, took that in a deep way. And even though I've had many, many years of psychotherapy and every other kind of therapy I could find, I still have this thing about I'm not doing it right, I'm not doing enough. When I turned 60, I'm a list maker, and I looked at my list, and there were things that had been on my list, I'm sure, for 10 or 15 years, and things that were worthy things like learning to play the piano or learning to speak a foreign language. And I thought, I'm not going to do that. I can take that off the list. And when I reached 70, I thought, I'm taking all self-improvement off the list. I am no longer renovating. And it is a relief. It is a relief. And to begin to orient myself to thinking, to have lived this long and to live this well and to end up right here, right now, existentially, in this place with all of these beautiful people, I must be doing something right. What is it? What is it? So I have two pieces I wanted to share with you, two short poems that are not mine. One is rough and one is soft. I'll read the rough one first. And this I read in honor of my friend Edward Field. Edward is one of our best poets and one of the remaining heroes of World War II. He turned 100 on Friday. Still living on his own up in New York, and still a fun person to talk to. This is from his book, Counting Myself Lucky, a poem called Promises, Promises. Leaving aside the drinkers and dopers whose lifelong obsession has its own trajectory, weak proselytizers, though they keep urging us to join them in a drink or a toke. Many invite us to follow, promising miracles of mind and body. Whatever you do, you've got to die, one thing or another, but terrified. You've got to try one thing or another. Still the gurus and the devotees, isn't it their fate like ours to die from some disease with age deteriorate? Or do people who do yoga all their lives die peacefully in the lotus position? Rather than like most of us from cancer in a ward, and busy with chopping, shredding, blending, and juicing, do vegetarians, fruitarians, and fasters live literally healthy till they die, in spite of looking gaunt and terrible? Is there really any way to avoid doctors and disease, or is it all crackpot theories? Promises, promises, Edward Field. The other one is one that I'm guessing at least 50% of you know by heart. It's called Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. And this used to be a common thing that I would hand out to therapy clients because I thought, this is so profound. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across landscapes, over prairies, in the deep trees and mountains, the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are headed home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely the world offers itself to you, imagine calls you to the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing the place in the family of things. Mary Oliver, wild geese. Such power there because we're just taught not to feel good about ourselves for many, many reasons. And obviously, everybody here, if you just think about it, you get up in the morning and you do things. And, maybe, if you've been reading Psychology Today or, many journals, you're looking at YouTube videos, you're thinking, oh, I'm not doing this right. I need to be getting up on the other side of the bed, and I need to be standing on my head, and I'm not taking the right vitamin, on and on and on and on. So it's really important, I think, for us from time to time to give ourselves amnesty. No, I didn't do all of my physical therapy. I didn't do all of my stretching. I should have taken a walk, but I didn't. And you know what? I sat on the porch and had my tea and talked to the cats. We're still here. We're still here. I think it's really important to have a sense of why we're still here. And, I think that for me, at least, one of the things that, has been part of my ethical and spiritual background is that I'm here to make it a better place, to add to the good that is around because I'm such a beneficiary of it. I was in Prague, in the Czech Republic, a month or so ago, and went across one of their major attractions, which is called Charles Bridge. And it's a big old stone bridge that goes across a river. It's been there for hundreds of years. It was the first bridge that spanned the river and connected the different sides and made Prague the city that it is. That particular area of Central Europe was the focal point of something called the 30 Years' War. And the 30 Years' War happened in the 1600s. It was right after the Reformation had begun. Martin Luther had done his, schism with the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was not happy with that. There were a bunch of princes and kings and folks in the north of Europe, Luther of course was German, who thought getting out of the Catholic Church was a really good idea because it was expensive for one thing, and they had somebody else telling them what to do in the form of a higher authority than their being king. So they were very happy to get into a conflict with the Catholic countries, which were more southern. The Holy Roman Empire, France, Spain. So you had this clash. And if you lived in what is now Bavaria or the modern Czech Republic, you were right in the middle of it. It went on for 30 years. One side would, come in and devastate. The other side would then come in, back and forth, wave after wave. Finally, there was a treaty that stuck, and the Czech Republic, or Prague at least, was sort of under the control of the Catholic Church. And the church looked around and saw the devastation, and they said, people are not acting like people anymore. their humanity has been stripped from them. You know, there is no civility here because for 30 years, you know, you weren't safe in your home. There was food insecurity. Your relatives were all being killed. You never knew when the army was coming from which side to do what. And so the church decided that they were going to put up statues on Charles Bridge of illustrious people who did good things. Now, it was Catholic propaganda, so, you know, some of the characters are saints. How you get to be a saint, you know, that's a complicated process. It's not going to happen to me. But the thing that I appreciated about it was that there was a conscious and deliberate attempt to keep people, you know, in a connected, civil, ethical community with each other. And I think that that may be our challenge at this time, is to keep ourselves and others connected in an ethical community, a community that is about social justice, regardless of what happens. Regardless of what happens. I had a friend, she's now passed, her name was Sobonfu Sofu. Sobonfu Some. And Sobonfu was from Burkina Faso, from a tribe, the Decatur tribe, which was so remote that they had never been bothered by the Catholics or the Muslims, and were able to maintain their own spiritual traditions. And she was here in the United States teaching about traditional African spiritual beliefs. But she had a great sense of humor. And one time she was talking to a group and she said, you know, people will come up to me and say, oh, you're from Africa, how horrible, you know, violence, famine, this, that, and the other. And she said, she always laughed. She said, we get up in the morning and we have our breakfast. You know, we do the things that we need to do to get through our day. That it is true that we live in a world where there are terrible things happening, but we also get up and live our life. You know, we do the best. I don't always have everything in the refrigerator that I want, but lucky me, I've always got something. Always something. So I think that there are two things really. One is that community is very powerful, and one of the things that I appreciate about First D is that it is a community that supports art. Beautiful art on the wall, a new exhibit every month, beautiful music every service, special music, special kinds of activities happening all the time. This is a counter-narrative. This is a different story that we're telling to the story that we look at if we turn on the TV and let them tell the story for us. It's not that there's not real stuff, real bad stuff, real awful stuff happening in the world, but we can create a counterbalance to that. We don't have to make that our sole reality. And I think that to the degree that we can do that for ourselves and each other, we're still here. We're still here. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we're part of a non-linear community. And that's a little bit hard, you know, to get your head around, but I think what's happening in a few weeks, when the city comes and gives the building, the sanctuary building here, its official status, you know, it recognizes that this is a place where community has been continuous over time. You know, that the people who built the old stone church, you know, left a marvelous legacy. Even though they did not stay here, even though the place stayed kind of empty for a while, well, here we are, we're still here. Community is still happening here. Art and music are still happening here. And because of the historic preservation, it will still be happening here 100 years from now. You know, just as it was 100 years ago.
Now, will it be the first existentialist congregation? I have no idea. I have no idea. But I think the first existentialist congregation, just like Antioch East, will be seen as a part of the puzzle, a part of the continuity of community. You know, will Candler Park look like Candler Park? I have no idea. But this will always be a focal point. This is part of a continuing community that changes form, that changes, you know, direction, but is continuous. And it doesn't follow a straight line, doesn't live on a clock. One of the things that I think that is really important at time to envision is that the work that is being done here to create community is being done for people who aren't even born yet. You know, there will be people who will come here, you know, who, you know, are not on the planet yet and will, you know, appreciate the resonance, you know, that even though we come and go, we're still here. We're still here. So let me conclude with a funny little lyric by Stephen Sondheim. I'm just going to do a little bit of it. It's where the notion for the talk came from. And the person I love to and I'm not going to sing. That would take a lot of practice. Okay. I found it before, which means I can find it. Okay. It's from his Broadway show Follies. It's called I'm Still Here. And the singer that I love is Elaine Stritch. There are several great videos of her singing the song on YouTube, and I recommend that. You know, to my froggy interpretation. But here we go. Good times and bum times, I've seen them all, and my dear, I'm still here. Plush velvet sometimes just pretzels and beer. But I'm here. I've stuffed the dailies in my shoes, strummed ukuleles, sung the blues, seen all my dreams disappear. But I'm here. I've slept in shanties, guest of the WPA, but I'm here. Danced in my scanties, $3 a night was the pay. But I'm here. I stood on bread lines with the best, watched while the headlines did the rest. In the Depression, was I depressed? Nowhere near. I met a big financier, and I'm here. I've been through Gandhi, Wally, and George's affair, and I'm here. Amos and Andy, Mahjong, platinum hair, and I'm here. I got through Abby's Irish Rose, 5 Dion Vades, Major Bows, had heebie-jeebies or BB's, Bathy Spear. I lived through Brenda Frazier. When she sings it, she says, I lived through Barbara Walters. And I'm here. So, we're here. And good. We're still here.
Yes.
And I thank you. And I thank Jean and Alan and Cindy Lou and everybody here. I'm gathering my stuff.
I want to present you with her. That was wonderful. We have a closing song, page 115, which is the Rainbow Connection. Please stand as you're willing and able. And remember, Alan's going to play all